something about a heel flap, and my brain is just a wall. I don't know. Hello and welcome to the DoSo Knits YouTube channel. My name is Kristen and I am a knitter and military spouse now living in Denver, Colorado with my family. Thank you so much if you are returning to this podcast. We are starting a new year. This is the first podcast of 2022. Today is Thursday, the 13th of January. We're almost halfway through the first month. That's crazy. So today I'm going to kind of start with a clean slate. I have no finished objects to show you. There are some things that I finished from December 2021, but I'm not showing them here. They got shown a little bit throughout Vlogmas. And so I just want to start 2022 with a fresh slate, show you what I've been working on, and just kind of go from there. So today I'm drinking a black tea. It's called Snowball from Bird & Blend. It's like a black tea with hints of marshmallow and vanilla. I don't know. It's just one of my favorites. I have a dash of oat milk in there too. And I'm drinking it out of my moose mug from Knit Swag. This is my absolute favorite tea drinking mug. It's just the perfect weight and holds a good amount of tea. I love it so much. Kelly is amazing and designs all of these and customizes them with your name. It's great. So some admin up front. If you would like to find me other places and here on YouTube, I am DoSo Knits on basically all the platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and on Ravelry. And starting new in 2022. I used to do show notes on my website. I am going to be disbanding the website. Starting 2022, all the show notes are just going to be down in the description box below. I will link to my Ravelry project pages, and if I can link to the pattern off of Ravelry, I will link it there. So the only thing linked off will be if the pattern is available off of Ravelry if you need it. Otherwise, all the details about the yarn, needles, any modifications or things that I make will be on my Ravelry project pages. I just do not get enough traffic onto the website for me to keep it updated. It's just an extra step in this whole podcasting process. And like I said, not a lot of people go to it. I think most people use the description box when they record and link to the project pages. So I think I'm just going to go with that. If you ever have questions or anything, if you can't access Ravelry, I will have my email down below and you can always reference back to these videos and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. It's just taking that one step out is going to help me a lot. Plus, I have to pay for the website and I just don't have any income from the podcast and don't have the ability to keep paying for the website upkeep if it's just not being used that much. So that is the decision. I will slowly be going back to previous podcast episodes and transferring over information. So if you're new and want to go back, I will be moving information into description boxes. That'll just be a slow process through time. I'll try to do them as quick as I can. But yeah, that's the biggest admin thing I wanted to talk about at the beginning. Okay, so I think we just move into what I've been working on. I have about 6 projects sitting here. If you watched my 2021 recap and my 2022 goals, you'll know I have 8 works in progress carrying over from last year into this new year. And we're working on them slowly. My goal to get through those works in progress is to do 30 minutes of knitting every day. And as I finish one, I will then pick up another. The reason for that is I am just really excited about a lot of new cast-ons. Not that I'm not excited about things that have carried over, but there's just less like new excitement, I guess. I don't know what word I'm looking for. I want the end product still, but there's just a lot of things that I want to cast on, and I definitely feel like I'm more motivated when I'm starting something new and just have the momentum. I guess that's what I'm looking for. There's more momentum on these new projects that I want to start, but I'm also trying to focus my brain and only work on a couple things at a time. So let's move into my first project that I'm doing the 30 minutes every day with. So if you are new here, or if you're not, I have been working on the Slip Stravaganza by Stephen West, which was the 2021 Mystery Knit Along that started in October. We are now in January, and I'm still working on this shawl. I am on the last step though, and this is what I've been working on for 30 minutes every morning. So here she is. I love how it looks. It makes me so excited. Ebony, don't hit the camera. Thank you. So every morning I'm just gonna wrap it real quick. I have been working on this border section. There's about 55 stripes in the border, and it takes me about 30 minutes to do a stripe. So this little pink one is the stripe I am working on and that I finished this morning. I think I'm about 30 stripes in, a little over 30, not at 35 yet, and I'm just working on it every morning, trying to get it done. I'm really surprised because I started this at the beginning of the month, my 30 minutes part, not the shawl. How much you can actually get done in 30 minutes and just a little bit every day. Some days I do a little bit more, but definitely if I do 30 minutes, I can get a stripe done, which thinking long term would be like a whole month to finish the shawl, a little over, but I'm okay with that. It's nice because in the morning I don't have to really think about it. It's just garter stitch and picking up these stitches that are on hold, these little X's. And so I've got it memorized, which is really nice for morning knitting. So I'll give you a little more information. I am using Homespun Super Soft for this project. It is all living in my Mountain State Stitches bag. The shawl used to live in there, but now the shawl just lives on the back of my knitting chair, and the yarn just sits on the ground in this bag beside it. I have also learned from my mistakes and implemented some needle stoppers. So these are Coco Knits stitch stoppers. I'll link them below as well. And the needles I'm using are my Chiao-Gu US 4s 3.5 millimeters, which is the size called for in the pattern. So yes, that was the back side. She's very large and can sit in my lap as I'm talking about everything. I really like it. I'm worried I'm not going to wear it just because it's a lot, but I think if I leave it on the back of my computer chair, I'll just like wrap it around me a lot. Also, sitting like this, cross-legged, it's like the perfect lap blanket. But the yarn, sorry, I got distracted. So this is the Homespun Super Soft, what it looks like. It comes in these little cakes. I've used this one a bit. I've just broken into the second skein of this color. Each one is 50 grams, 314 yards. They are 100% wool. And these are very cost effective because when they're spun, they still have the spinning oil in them. So when you do your wash and block, you actually have to soak them twice. The first time really gets out the spinning oil, and then the second time really helps the yarn bloom. I'm very excited to get to that point, and I will be recording what that looks like with the double soak. I've heard the water gets very kind of dirty. I'm excited to see how this will bloom and open up because I didn't swatch. And so I haven't blocked anything with it yet. So the colors I'm using are all linked on my Ravelry project page. This is going to be a test of my memory. The white is bleached white. The teal is kingfisher. Brown is oatmeal. I'm doing good so far. The orange is gold crest. And then, oh, I remember, the pink, that's teal. The pink is sugar snap. 90% sure on that. Sugar snap, yes. I did not show those in the order of A, B, C, D, E, but it should all be in my project page listed which one is what. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be gorgeous when it's done. It's gorgeous now. It's been really fun to work on. I feel like every time people ask me what it's been like knitting this, I feel like it's just like a stitch sampler in a shawl. Because things like welts and bobbles I'd never done before, the little I-cord, little shrimps are just lots of fun. I've done I-cords before, but not like with that technique. And yeah. But I highly encourage like doing the 30 minutes every morning. Kay's doing that and explaining that and sharing it with people definitely inspired me to do it with this project and has definitely helped get the motivation to get this done. Because I definitely think there are projects that can just sit and stay on your needles for a really long time when you lose that momentum. And I feel like this 30 minutes allows me to keep progress going, but also not feel guilty if I'm like not working on this and it's been on my needles for so long. If I do my 30 minutes, I'm then free and like liberated to go work on other things. And even if I don't do my 30 minutes, I still can do them tomorrow and there's no stress. Just work on it at my own pace. But the 30 minutes I think helps my brain a bit. So I highly encourage to try that if you have projects that are weighing on your mind a bit. Okay, the other project that is carrying over from 2021 into 2022 is living in this bag. Another Mountain State Stitches bag. And this is my Everyday Slouchy Beanie by Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarns. I started this in December and just was working on it slowly, and now it's been I put it in my bag and take it with me project. So if we ever get stuck somewhere, it's what I'm working on. Although I don't work on it in the movies. This is where she is at so far. I just really wanted a yellow hat. And I am so excited for this. So the yarns I'm using are in my bag. This one is Neighborhood Fiber Company, and the colorway is Pen North. This is a singles yarn, and it is 100% merino wool. And then the other color I am using a Surrey base. This is Kumo from La Bien-Aimée. And the colorway is yellow. I thought it might be Amy yellow, but it's just yellow. So I'm holding the two of these together to make this hat. I absolutely love this Kumo base. It is so soft. So we sell this at the store where I work, and every time someone buys this, I love skeins it up for them, caking it up for them, because I just love to touch this yarn. It's so soft and lovely. So I wanted to make a yellow hat just because I thought it would be really fun for the winter time. And I've just really enjoyed this process. So the bottom of this hat, from here to here, is knit on a US 1. And actually it's 6 inches of knitting because you fold over the brim with a provisional cast on, and then you make a double-sided brim at the bottom. Once you finish the brim, you switch to larger needles and you knit until it's time for the crown decreases. I'm knitting the upper part on, I think they are US 4s. US 4s, 3.5 millimeters. They are 16-inch Chiao circulars. I grabbed those from the Crazy Sock Lady Co's shop because she sells the best sizes of Chiao. And I'm so excited. I think I'm almost, not quite, maybe 3.5, 4 inches of the hat. I have a few more to go before I can start the crown decreases, but it's kind of how it looks so far. I am so excited. This is the first time I've tried it on. I think the yellow is so cute. I've just really been embracing yellow. I love it as a color. I think it's so happy and sunshiny. And this feels really nice on the head. I think the sari is going to be just very warm. And it's been lovely to work on. It's lovely that I can just go round and round and round and not have to think about it. I can't really take it and knit it in like movies because I don't want to skip one of the 2 strands, but otherwise it's very easy to pick up and put down and knit on it when you do other things, which is why it's been living in my bag that I take with me, because if I don't do a whole round, it's fine. I can just work on it a little bit by little bit. Yeah. The first bit where you're making the brim is a bit of a slog because it's a big brim and you have to double it. Definitely takes a little bit on those tiny needles, and it's definitely a bit tight for the single and the mohair held together. Knitting that small can be tough on your hands, which is why it took me a bit. You definitely can't power through that unless you have very good tension, but even still, it's really hard to like knit that tight with those needles. And I say that as a loose knitter. I'm an extremely loose knitter, and even still, I found that bottom bit hard on my hands. So one thing I suggest, I tried knitting this hat before. I was using Addies. I did not finish the hat with the Addies. I frogged that first hat. With this hat, the first time around, I was using the Addies again, and it was still really causing a lot of tension in my hands. So I switched. I didn't know I had US 1s Chiao-Gus in 16-inch, but I did because I had bought some to make 2 circulars socks, when you use 2 circulars to knit socks. So I switched to the Chiao-Gus, and that made a world of difference. The slight point on them definitely helped, and I think there's just a little more glide to that. So I suggest if you're ever knitting a project and you are running into tension or pain or difficulties, try switching your needles, because just from one round to the next, it made such a difference. I could go a lot quicker and there was a lot less tension in my hands. So never be afraid to play with those types of things. I know it can be hard because spending more money on tools is not in everyone's budget, but if you can, I suggest try switching out and changing and seeing if that helps. The next project I'm working on is just in this little basket. It's now a little misshapen because when they shipped it, they just shoved it in a box with nothing to protect it. So now all my baskets are a little wonky. So these are my Saturday morning socks by Molly of a Homespun House. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted about these socks maybe a week ago, about just like how much peace and solace these socks are bringing me. So I'll show you. Here's where they are. I love them so much. So all the yarns I'm using are these little yarns. They are called Lang Yawool. I got these in Germany. So yes, all the colors will be linked on my project page because I think on the labels it's just numbers. Yeah. Whereas on my Ravelry project page they have little better descriptions. But I did the cuff length that is in the pattern. I love that Molly does these long cuffs. Every time I watch her knit them, I always see her socks, and I love knitting, seeing how long her cuffs are. And I always want my cuffs to look that long, and then I never do it. But I did it this time. It's close to a 20 round cuff, I believe. But it's so gorgeous and just looks amazing. So I did that as like the purple color. And then we have this gorgeous color work chart down the leg. It uses 3 colors. And I'm now working on my heel flap. I think the pattern calls for your main color to be 100 grams, and then your 2 main colors to be 50 grams, and your 3rd color to be a mini. All of the yarns I'm using came as 50 gram skeins. I can normally knit a pair of socks with 50 grams, which is why I wasn't concerned with the main color. And yeah, I flew through this leg color work chart. It is addictive and easy and gorgeous. It was just so meditative to work on. It really allowed me to like slow down and contemplate and work on my stitches. But since I was wanting to pick this up so much, it just went very quickly in a couple days. I am now working on the heel flap. I'm doing a slightly different heel flap than what's in the pattern just because I'm adding the garter stitched edged. But I am doing the slip stitches how she has it written in the pattern, which is a new way for me to do it. It's from the wrong side instead of the front. The sock size is a normal 56 stitch sock for me. What I do for color work is I go up half a needle size, half a millimeter size. So typically I knit my socks with 2 millimeter needles, which are US zeros, which is what I am knitting the heel flap on. When I go to the color work, I do 2.5 millimeter needles, which I think is a US 1.5. So I just go up a size. I'm using the Addy Sock Wonders on these. They're just kind of tucked away in the sock right now so they don't pop out while I'm working on the heel flap, which I'm just using my DPMs for. And yeah, so I think the foot is mostly the one color, so I'll switch to my US zeros for that. And then when I get to the color work chart that's near the toe, I will switch back to the 2.5. So that's how I compensate for color work in my socks. I still think there's a good amount of stretch. You can see me kind of stretching that out. Yeah, that's basically what I do. I've been loving these. I love the cuff contrast. I thought about doing the heel in the cuff color as well, but I didn't. I'm gonna do how it's written exactly because I love the socks. Molly showed them a while ago, maybe a year ago. Her Saturday morning socks. I love them. I'm excited to have them. they're going to be so gorgeous. And they do. They just bring me so much joy and solace to work on these. I always stall out at a heel flap. That's why I haven't picked it up in a couple days, just because something about a heel flap in my brain is just a wall. I don't know. That's why a lot of times I do my German short row heel, because it's just faster. Something about a heel flap really just slows me down. With that, we'll stay on our sock train. So this is living in my Knit 1 and Sew 2 bag. It is my go-to knitting bag for socks on the go. I'm starting my January Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. So if you're new here, I do the Desert Vista Dyeworks sock challenge. Every month you knit a sock using her yarn. You have to start it after the first of the month and finish it by the end of the month. And you have to use a skein of her yarn to enter the socks in. This year, the rules have changed a bit in regards to what you can knit. So DK socks count, shorty socks count, but you have to do 2 pairs of shorties from the same skein. But I have started my socks for January. I am using this color right here. It is called Foo Fighters. That was the inspiration photo. And I started these 2 days ago. I'll show you where I am at. So this is where I'm at. It's a little short. So I am knitting these for my husband Shane. When I knit him socks, they are 60 stitches versus my 56 stitches. I am doing shorty socks for him. So my goal is to get 2 pairs of shorty socks done this month. It's almost halfway through the month. It's fine. I started these 2 nights ago. I cast them on and wanted to get the cuffs started because yesterday we had to go to the DMV and I expected to be there for a long while. Long story short, we were not there for a long time because 1, you have to make an appointment to get a license, which was the first goal, and 2, for registering the cars. We just ran into not having everything we needed, so we will be going back. But I did get some knitting done, and then I worked on the heel this morning. So I did roughly 10 rounds for the cuff, and then 10 rounds of leg before doing the German short row heel. And this time I am doing a garter German short row heel, which I've never done before, but I didn't want to purl. So we did a garter one. Shane has asked for shorty socks, so that is what we are going for. Previously, ones I've made, he thinks they are slightly too short, so I'm hoping this leg is a bit better. I think the key is a longer cuff, because the one I did like 5 rounds on the cuff and then a little bit for the leg, but I think 20 is going to be the sweet spot. I just really like how these are knitting up so far. The colors are really fun, and yeah, now that I'm done with the heel, I just have, I think, 10 inches of stockinette for his foot. And then we'll do the toe and repeat. So these will be on the go knitting as well, in addition to my everyday hat. These might have to become more of a priority because I do have to finish them by the end of the month, and I do not have to for that. But if the Desert Vista Dyeworks challenge is something that interests you and you have some of her yarn in your stash, I highly recommend doing it. It's just a lot of fun. You get rewards part of the way through, and if you do 6 months you get a free skein of yarn, and if you do 12 months you get a free skein of yarn. But you have to start in January, which is why now is a good time to jump on with me. But you have to use her yarn, and her yarn takes a little bit to get made because she dyes them all to order and changes what's available every single month, which is really fun. Okay, I have 2 more projects to show. So these I'm going to show very, very quickly. I started these in December as well. I guess these are another carryover. But these just sit on my computer desk. These are DK weight socks that I'm knitting for Shane. I am holding Knit Picks Felici. The sun is here. I am holding Knit Picks Felici double. This color is called Speed Racer. And I'm just holding it double, letting the yarn do what it does. I am knitting these magic loop. Something in me just wanted to make DK socks on magic loop. And now they just sit at my computer desk. When I'm editing, I pick these up and work on them. Just something to have there always. So again, not necessarily with a deadline, they're just there for my hands. That way, if I'm doing something on my computer, I don't have to like go find a project and bring it back. I did another German short row heel on these. So it's all done. The German short row heel just fits Shane very, very well. And like I said, it's just very quick and I enjoy doing it. I really like how this is like marling and striping up. I think it's really fun. And I'm just pulling from both ends of the skein and just did not care what happened. I've just had this Felici in my stash and I was just trying to use my stash. And I thought DK weight socks would just be really fun. And this is just a little drawstring bag that I made. Okay, so now we are on to the last work in progress that I have. It is living in my bearded pearl, my bearded pearl large sweater size bag. So I am testing this pattern. It is Chalet Days Sweater by Samantha Gurin. I talked about it on my 2022 goals. I have been working on this. I absolutely love it and I'm very excited to show you. So this is a colorwork sweater and her patterns are size inclusive. I am knitting the size 48 inch bust, I believe. The yarns I am using, these are from Nerd String. I'm using her Superwash worsted base. These are the two colors. So this is Pearl and this is Rebel Rebel. This is my main color and this is my contrast. Sorry, the sun is now shining through this window and I'm trying to not get too much in your face. I'll show you the little label very quickly. This is what the label looks like. And I'm working on the second colorwork chart for this sweater. Let me take off my knitting thimble. So when I knit colorwork, I use a knitting thimble because I knit continental, and so it just holds your contrast and your main color, so that way I can pick whichever one I need to. It's just what works for me. I love a knitting thimble. It just holds the tension a bit better than what my fingers can do. But I am on the second colorwork chart. My goal was to try to finish the colorwork chart last night, but I ended up taking a nap instead of knitting because I was tired. But this is where she is. Isn't it so gorgeous? When I saw that she was calling for testers and that this was the sweater, I immediately applied. I am in so much love. It's so gorgeous. I really love the purple with the good white contrast. I think it looks so good. So we have 3 colorwork charts before it'll just be stockinette. I am on the second colorwork chart, and then the third one is very similar to this top one. I think it's just adjusted for stitch count. I love this sweater so much. I'm knitting this down a size from what's recommended. I'm doing them on US 6, 4 millimeter. The pattern calls for US 7. I'm just a loose knitter. I do not go up a size when I knit colorwork. A lot of people recommend when you do the colorwork section to go up a needle size. I find I don't tighten up. If anything, I'm a bit looser when I knit the color work. But I think with the thimble, it just keeps my tension really nice and even, so I do not go up needle size. But I'll give you a nice little close-up. That is what it looks like. I'm excited. So this one just takes some focus, so I've been working on it at home once I get home from work in the evenings, and it's just been lovely to work. It's just going to be a simple round yoke color work, and then after the color works, it's just going to be stockinette in the round, and then it'll be a little more, I can take it with me and really finish it out. I'm also just really loving this yarn. Typically, it's not recommended superwash for color work, but I've just really been craving a superwash sweater. I don't have one in my closet, and I was just really excited to add one to my wardrobe. The yarn has been knitting up wonderfully. It is so soft and it just glides off the needles. I love it so much. I will be, once I finish the colorwork charts, I will start alternating skeins. But for the color work, until I finish that, I'm just using one skein of the purple and not alternating. I just thought that would be too much to handle, and with the color work, I don't think the alternating would really help or provide much difference. But once I start in the round and it's just down one color, that's when I'll start alternating the purples. Yeah, be on the lookout for this. It should be coming out in February, which is why I gotta get my butt and act together. I really don't feel behind on it, so I feel like it's good. I've only been working on it for maybe a week, and I'm already on the second chart. And the third chart should be a lot simpler now that I've done the first one. I feel like setting up that first color work round really takes a lot of focus, because once you're set up with that first one, you can just read your knitting and kind of find your place in the chart. Whereas that first one, like, you have to focus and count, because if you mess up, then it's a lot harder to fix. So yeah. So that is that. I'm super excited about it. Thank you, Samantha, again for letting me test knit. The sun is very bright, isn't she? So with that, with the sun creeping in, and I've shown you all my works in progress, I think it's about time to wrap it up. I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out and watching with me today. What are you working on? Are there any projects that you carried over that you're really trying to finish, or have you just started the new year with new projects like I have done? I feel like I've done a mix of carrying over but also starting anew. I'm just excited to get more garments done this year. I really want to build my handmade wardrobe a bit. But yes, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It really means so much that you guys spend a little bit of your day with me, and it just means so much. If you liked the video, always feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't. It's just a free way to support the channel and helps us reach other knitters as well. So as always, thank you so much for clicking. Thank you for watching and your love, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye.